Welcome to the WolfPack Sports Wire, a podcast from the athletic department at Whitefield Academy. Whitefield Academy is a Christ-centered pre-K through 12 college preparatory school located in Smyrna, Georgia. On this show, we highlight our hardworking coaches and student athletes who are excelling in and out of competition.
Welcome back to the WolfPack Sports Wire. I'm your host, Jack Hunter. Today is episode 14 of the show, and it's the week of November 17th. We're feeling extra thankful this week that our football team is back in action Friday for the first time in 3 weeks. Today, we'll sit down with Coach Walsh in advance of this second-round playoff matchup versus Aquinas High School. Later in the show, we'll be joined by assistant head of school and head girls basketball coach Heather Karvis to discuss the team's outlook for this season. Today's show is sponsored by Cohen Orthodontics, Evergreen Orthodontics, and Oakdale Family Dental. If you've got teeth problems, you know who to call. Thanks to these companies for their generous support of Packbackers, Whitefield Athletics, and this show. Now back to the program.
Coach Walsh, we can finally say it. It's game week. How are you doing?
Yep. That's I texted a lot of people this weekend. I said I'm happy to finally make it to game week. Looking forward to getting on the practice field today with the boys, back to a normal routine. But it was a good 2 weeks. The boys brought great energy and did a great job.
Yeah, and then it's worth saying that, Whitefield's not the only team with a bye that's dealing with this, but it's got to be tough to play preseason scrimmages and play 10 games in 12 weeks and then just kind of sit for 3 weeks. But I know you guys, as we talked about on previous shows, have been working really intentionally to get ready for this matchup. What's going to be the plan this week in practice now that you've got a game coming ahead this Friday?
It's just back to the normal game week routine. Our normal Monday practice. We might skip over a little bit of the recognition period and stuff like that because we've been honestly working on Aquinas for the past 2 weeks heavily. I think we kind of knew where that game was going to go this past week, but we did work on Darlington. You never know what's going to happen in the playoffs, but I think we were able to prepare a little bit, and our kids kind of know what to expect against Aquinas.
Yeah, and so you got to go down to Augusta and see the action. Aquinas playing Darlington. Aquinas coming out with a 52-21 win. You guys now share that common opponent in Darlington. When you got to see the game up close, there's a lot of wrinkles to the game, a lot that happened in the game. What were your observations about this Aquinas team that we're going to be playing on Friday?
They got some really good athletes. Putting number 14 back at quarterback allows their star player, Jack Rhodes, who's committed to Virginia as a receiver, to go back out the receiver, play his natural position. Then they have a kid, number 2, Christian Cates, that took a few long swing passes the distance. And then their running back, number 1, Elijah Hutchinson, sophomore. He runs really hard to tackle. The athletes kind of stuck out to me. They want to play in space. So defensively, it's going to be really important that we rally to the football, have our force players set the edge really quickly, and gang tackle because these guys want to play in space.
Yeah, and then a big part of that game was there was 35 total points scored in the first quarter. It was 21-14 Aquinas at the end of the first. Defensively, how do you guys have to prepare to prevent Aquinas from having a similar first quarter where they score 3 times?
Those were all big plays, too. It was, a swing pass to number 2, and he took it to the house. And then number 1, I believe, caught another swing pass, and he took it to the house. So block destruction on the perimeter is going to be huge this week for our defensive backs and our linebackers, and then getting to the ball and getting him on the ground. That's going to be the biggest thing that we're going to have to do defensively. They want to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands pretty quick, not too much of drop back passing. Now, if we're able to get them off schedule a little bit for some 3rd and longs, I like the potential of being able to pressure their quarterback a little bit, though.
Yeah, and Aquinas not only started pretty hot, but the second half they really dominated. Had a huge third quarter. I believe it was 24-0, blanked them in the third quarter, but shut out Darlington from the defensive side in the second half. So when you look at Aquinas' defense, what are some things that stand out to you that your offense is going to have to take notes on?
Well, really, for the Darlington game, we're not going to get too much from that film just because they were going against a triple option. So their defense looks completely different than what it's been over the 10-game schedule. We've been fortunate enough to where we got their first 4 games on film, and then we also got their last 4 games on film. So we have an idea of what they want to do defensively against our certain formations, and they're going to be an odd front, which we've kind of struggled with a little bit this year. But I'm hopeful over these last 2 weeks working against that odd front really helped our O-line, helped our offense, and we'll be able to go put on a show Friday night.
Yeah, and when we've asked about keys to the game this year, they've been pretty similar. It's been tackling, blocking, not turning the ball over. What do you think the keys are for this game? More of the same, or are there anything specific to this game too that you're really looking forward to?
They live off big plays on the offensive side of the ball. So eliminating big plays, I think is going to be huge for our defense. Make them drive the field. That's something they didn't really have to do. They haven't done successfully against Richmond Academy. That the last regular season game of the year. They were held to 14 points and probably the lowest point total they've had all year, as well as lowest yardage they've had all year. And I think it was because Richmond, they eliminated the big plays. And we're going to have to do that on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, we're going to have to do our job up front blocking and then take care of the football. We turned the ball over a few times against Fellowship, and that didn't really help us out. We've been plus in the turnover margin, I think, pretty much all season in our games, and we weren't against Fellowship, and we lost. So taking care of the football is going to be the most important thing, and then creating our own big plays against them.
Yeah, a big advantage that we have coming into Friday is that we're going to be playing in front of the home fans. You never know. This could be the last time we play at home this year. This could not be the last time we play at home this year. But what advantage do you think that's going to be playing in front of the home fans? What are you hoping to see for a pretty historic moment for Whitefield football and an opportunity to advance to a spot that the team's not been before?
We drove to Augusta on Friday to scout them. It's not a fun drive. You're talking a 2.5-hour bus ride for them. We saw their home crowd. It wasn't as packed as I thought it was going to be for them. So I don't know how well they'll travel. I'm hoping our fans are going to pack the stands before we're heading out for Thanksgiving break. As you said, this could be the last opportunity to see this football team right here in our home stadium. I hope it's not. I think we got an opportunity to host another big one down the road if we take care of business this week and the following week. So I think we got a great opportunity in front of us. It's just a matter of doing our job, and hopefully our fans will show up and make this a true home game for us.
Yeah, we will fortunately get to stay off of I-20 on Friday afternoon, which we can be thankful for going into the Thanksgiving holiday. So, Coach, I appreciate your time today, and good luck this upcoming Friday.
I appreciate it, Jack, and go Pack.
Our next guest is head girls basketball coach Heather Karvis. Coach Karvis has stepped into the head seat for this season after serving as an assistant with the program last year. The team is off to a great 2-1 start after dismantling the Atlanta Classical Academy on Tuesday night. We caught up with Coach before the game. Coach Karvis, it's great to have you on. How are you doing?
Thank you, sir. I'm doing very well.
Well, I do want to bring to your attention and the listeners' attention before we begin that the last time I interviewed you about basketball was almost 9 years ago. I'm showing my age here, but I was a freshman in high school interviewing you at our former school. So this is a full circle moment.
It is absolutely, and it's fun for me to see you as now my colleague and not my student.
Yeah. So a lot of people at Whitefield kind of know you in your roles here, either as principal or now assistant head of school, but maybe not as many people know about your basketball background as you're stepping into being the first year as a varsity head coach. So tell us about your basketball background. How have you kind of gotten to this point of being Whitefield's head coach?
Sure. I played in high school locally and then played at Oglethorpe University. Absolutely loved it, and actually started as a community coach at St. Pius X Catholic High School. Fell in love with teaching via coaching, and that's actually how I got into the educational profession. And so then was at Pius for 5 years teaching and coaching, then went to Westminster to serve as their head girls basketball coach, and then moved up administratively there. And then when I moved to Whitefield, I had stepped away from the head coaching and gone totally admin, and then did some support coaching, assistant coaching here, but now I've come full circle back to head coaching again. So I say that I have stepped out of retirement of that role and I'm back in it.
Yeah, I do want to hype you up a little bit more. You are in the Oglethorpe Basketball Hall of Fame, and you were second leading scorer in the country your senior year, All-American. So quite the playing career from you. So, obviously you've coached some AAU basketball since Westminster and now at Whitefield, but what made you want to get back into the head coach's seat, and how did that opportunity present itself?
I remember one time a friend of mine always said to me that you're a coach at heart. I think great teachers and coaches go hand in hand. And I didn't ever think that I would step back into this role truly. And I feel like the Lord just kept opening pathways and doors that pointed me in this direction. And I'm thankful to Danny Ryan and Kevin Bracher and others who have made this possible for the current role that I have administratively to also make it work as a varsity head coach.
Yeah, and how do you think, if it does, being the varsity girls basketball coach helps your job as assistant head of school? Because you get kind of a unique opportunity as an administrator to be around students every day in that setting.
Yes, it's been awesome. I've also gotten to serve as a junior advisor this year, and I go on J-term trips and also retreats in the middle school. And so staying in touch with the student body is huge for me. I just have a better pulse on our student voices and the needs of the learners at different stages and ages.
Yeah. So let's talk about your team.
Sure.
If you watch this basketball team play, you'll see that they're very talented. It's a very, very talented group. It's also a very young group. You guys have played 2 games. It'll be 3 once this comes out and people are listening to this. First one, 17-point win over North Cobb Christian. The second one, you guys lost 77-60 to a Milton team that was in the Final Four last year that won 24 games. What are your impressions of this team so far through preseason practice in the first 2 games?
First of all, I'll say love the girls. We are few. We're 10. There's 10 girls, but mighty, and they respond well to being pushed, which is going to help us. So on paper, yes, we are talented, but at the same time, we've continued to tell them we are young, not just in age, but mentality and experience on different stages. And so I think part of what we're pushing them to do is to gain some mental toughness and strength this year, that patient endurance that comes from a long basketball season, so that we're peaking at the right time. We've also got freshmen and sophomores that play instrumental roles on our team. So it's also helping them to understand how to handle that level of pressure in a positive way, not something that feels intimidating, but rather opportunistic.
Yeah, and 2 of your more returning players that had a lot of good production last year, senior Imani Chambliss and then sophomore Millie Newman have had good starts to the year. Mm-hmm. How are they taking that next step, maybe not only on the floor, but also kind of off the floor? Millie's obviously a pretty young player herself as a sophomore, but she did play a pretty big role last year.
She did, and I would say that Imani brings such consistency in her production. That's where you can see her senior credibility coming out. She also is a great leader for us. She's a vocal leader. She's at practices on time. She's ready to roll. She's highly committed to the team. She's watching film when nobody else is. That's just the kind of player she is. And I would say for Millie's more of your hype. I mean, she's just got incredible talent and has already got some great offers on the table for her, and only more are to come. But Millie brings great energy to us as well as she's growing in her mentality.
Since you were the assistant coach last year, you have familiarity with the program, with some of the girls. But stepping into that head coaching seat, what do you want your kind of stamp to be on the program this year? What are things that are really important to you, either on the floor or from a culture perspective?
I think first and foremost, we've talked about the word intentional as our focus this year. We're using Proverbs 4:25-26 about keeping a steadfast gaze on the Lord. I want this team to know that we play to glorify him. And so when we play lazy or when we play selfishly, that those are things that aren't glorifying to him. And so we want to be disciplined and we want to be selfless and we want to build character and we want to build teamwork. Because again, everything we want to do, we want to be intentional about making sure it's glorifying to him.
Yeah, and I know, to preface this, I know it's not all sunshines and rainbows with this, but how special is it to be able to coach your 2 daughters?
That's it is one way that I feel like the Lord opened up a path for me to be back, because it wasn't going to pull me away from my family as it had in the past when my kids were younger. I'm with them now, and I would be at the games anyways. I'm prayerful that Ava, she'll hopefully be able to have a senior season with all of the trials she's faced with injuries. We're prayerful for that. And Aubrey, I think, didn't know if she was going to keep playing. And I think she loves the girls so much that she stuck with it, and she's enjoying it. And so it is a blessing. It's a family affair. I also make my husband keep the book often. So we're all together.
There we go. The Karvis family all together. Lastly, what are some goals that you have for the team this year, whether quantifiably or just kind of some things that you would like to see the team achieve by the end of the year?
I think process wise, I would say that I would love to see the team continue to achieve teamwork, caring for one another. So if somebody goes down, all five are running over to pull her up, that kind of thing. Where we are marching to the same unified goals. I would love that in terms of process. In terms of some product, I want us to be competitive. I mean, we've got the ability to be competitive and to make a mark in region and to make a mark in state. And so I want these girls to gain confidence throughout the year that allows us to have some quantifiable wins, if you will.
All right. Well, Coach, appreciate your time today, and best of luck the rest of the season.
Thanks so much.
That'll do it for episode 14 of the WolfPack Sports Wire. As always, thank you everybody for listening and getting all the way till the end. I'm thankful for all the listeners who have supported the show throughout the whole semester, and all the coaches and student athletes who have come on to share their stories. I hope everybody has a great and restful Thanksgiving break. If you can, stick around Friday night to support our football team at 7:30 at home. That's all for me. We'll catch you next time on The Wire.